Hello everyone, Sterling White here, and are you someone who is struggling as a newbie and unsure what direction to go into as you transition to the industry? So by the end of this, you will have more of a clear picture on what direction to go into. So next steps, those of you who are on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button and also notification bell so you can be informed of content moving forward that I drop each and every week. And those of you who are on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, leave that rating. It would mean the world to me. Very much goes a long way. So one thing I want to jump into on this is for this specifically in terms of insights that I'll be providing to you is there was one individual that's reached out to me in terms of a mentee who has had success with this, where he's a full-time analyst. He's actually in the Tennessee market. And his goal was to get his first deal in 90 days. And luckily, through these, what I'll be sharing with you throughout the content today is on his 81st day, he was able to get that first deal, which was a duplex. So definitely shout out to you in being able to accomplish that. But it was just going out there and taking action and taking the action upon what was actually learned, and the techniques and the strategies and the mindset is to execute. That's most important. So let's go ahead into the first item in terms of really just providing you the right direction to go into for those of you who are struggling and that are newbies and would like some direction. The first is mindset. This is very key. And I want to go into my story myself. Is that one of the pivotal moments that I had in my journey in life in itself was I was at a college party doing what college kids do and having a good time, and ended up drifting away from the crowd. And from that is I found myself out in the middle of this pond, in the middle of this boat, and this beaming question comes down to me and says, Sterling, is this what you want to do with your life? And I answer back, no, this is not. Three key things that I did was, one, I cut off all my friends because they were not going where I wanted to go. Great people, but I just knew I had to do a 180, because there's that quote that's out there that says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. So I knew I had to do something different to get to where I wanted to go. Second was cut out the news, and third was keyed in on my mindset. So every single day after that, I was going to the library, listening to Earl Nightingale's, the Jim Rohns, the Zig Ziglars, and the Tony Robbins. And through that is getting more empowering beliefs and replacing a lot of those limiting beliefs with the more empowering ones. So mindset is huge. And cutting down the negative through the news and possibly through your surrounding circles allows to remove a lot of that negativity and not have it re-entering and replacing with more positivity, and that just fills your cup even more. So really, that's the first. The second is education. And sites, there's biggerpockets.com. It's free. I'm not affiliated by you going up and signing up for a free account. And just really understanding the industry as a whole. And once you decide that, okay, this is something that I want to get into, the real estate aspect is to learn from others who are where you wish to be. That's one site. There's YouTube. There's additional books that you can read of individuals that, let's say, a mentor of some sort that, as mentioned, that is where you want to be, and just in essence replicate what they've already done to get to where they are currently. So that's the steps there. And a mentor is someone that doesn't necessarily have to be right next to you and really holding your hand along the process. There's content out there, tons of free information that you can be able to tap into, really go deep, and they just follow what works versus reinventing the wheel. That has worked for myself personally. Third here is determine your niche, your investment model. So there is fix and flip of single families. There's fixing and also selling of apartment buildings, so smaller multifamily. There's buy and hold a multifamily. There's wholesaling. So from that is deciding your niche, the route you're going to go. And I'll tell you, when I first started out, is I started in construction. Then I shifted to the wholesaling, and then I transitioned to fix and flip, and then buy and hold a single family, and then buy and hold a multifamily. So just where you're starting out may not be the all by means and where you're going to end. The key is, of course, just taking action. So that's the first thing, deciding what niche you want to go into. And then, of course, within that investment model, you want to understand your market. But we'll look to keep this as simple as possible to really provide you that roadmap and steps that you want to take. So determining your niche and understanding that that may not be the all by means, or the end that the one that you'll end with is just going with the model that makes most sense for your philosophy. Let's say you're a cash flow person, or you're looking to build up cash quickly, then fix and flip may make the most sense. If you're looking for buy and hold and you're in California, then that may be a little bit more difficult. So you may want to go with a different model, or you may have to go into an entirely different market. So those are some things that you'll want to assess. Next is putting a time limit on yourself. And this has helped tremendously in terms of a way to avoid the analysis paralysis. I do not want you on the other end to experience that. That's the common thing that I see individuals make, is they just educate themselves and their own YouTube university, and they do this for years and they never take action. So one thing that has helped for myself is, especially when I made the transition from single family to multifamily, is I set myself a specific deadline and said that, okay, in 60 days, that's when I will start to take the action on actually going out there and implementing and executing upon what I have learned. And from that's just a good way to avoid the analysis paralysis. So that's one route. But also the other route is, there may be some things in terms of limiting beliefs that you may have in terms of mindset that may be keeping you from starting to take the action. Maybe you believe that you're not enough to be able to do it. Maybe you believe that that person can do it, but I'm not going to be able to do it. Or you feel that you have to have a large amount of cash. All of those things are limiting beliefs, because people, myself, when I started, is I had negative funds in my bank account. And however, I was able to find someone to fund that first deal, no money out of pocket for myself. So there is always a way. It's just about having that belief and just going out there and taking action. The next is to put together a plan. The plan doesn't have to absolutely be perfect, but it's just a strategy that you, this is my plan, is I'm going to go with, let's say, buy and hold of single family houses. This is how I am going to be able to find the properties. This is how I'm going to be able to purchase the properties. So putting a plan together from that. And as mentioned, it doesn't have to absolutely be perfect. It's just about putting something together. That way you have a target in which what you're working towards. And last but not least, which is by far one of the most important, is to take action. This is one thing I've learned from a mentor of mine, is committing first and figuring the rest out later. A lot of what you will experience from actually going out there, doing the work, actually implementing in the real world, is you could have done so much education, and you'll experience that, wow, there's no way I would have uncovered that. I'll give you a prime example. My very first deal is that the tenants ended up moving out midway through their lease, and ended up getting people that they worked with to move into the property and start living there and renting. And that's just a prime example, is there's no book I would have encountered that, hey, how to deal with this situation. But I ended up figuring out on the go, okay, what do I now do in this scenario? But it was just going out there and actually taking action. So those are the key elements that I really wanted to convey, is starting with mindset. Huge. That's the foundation. Second is education. If you can find someone who is where you are, and you can go the free route. Let's say they have free courses, free books, that one, you can go deep on that and uncover the roadmap and the steps that they took to get to where they are, versus trying to go out there and do it on your own and reinvent the wheel. The next is determine your niche. meaning buying hold of single families, fix and flip, wholesaling, doing land. Are you going to do hotels? So there's that. Next is put a time limit of I'm going to spend this amount of time in the education phase, and then after that just start taking this is when I'm actually going to start to implement and execute on what I've learned. Next is put together a plan, and the last but not least is just to take action, you guys. So that is the overall that the overall of someone who is struggling as a newbie that's getting into the industry, because I can understand. I remember where I was once in your shoes and still figuring things out. And even still to this day, I'm still figuring things out, even at the level I am. And there's so much more to go. So would like for you to go ahead and comment below on what is it that you're running into in terms of struggles. Is it lack of funding, lack of capital, not the knowledge of the connections? Go ahead and comment below with that. And in addition to that, I am doing strategy sessions, of which it's something that we do in terms of determining where you're currently at today, where you're looking to go, and how to be able to bridge that gap. So there is a link below for you to be able to schedule that. So looking forward to speaking with you. And last but not least, those of you, one more time, that are on the YouTube, hit the subscribe button as well as notification bell. That way you can be informed moving forward when I drop this content each and every week. And those of you who are on the listening audio platforms, leave that rating. It would really mean the world to me. So keep being awesome, you all, and just go out there, educate yourself, determine what your niche is, put a plan together, and then take action. But it starts with your mindset. You got to have the belief, and then the rest you'll progress through. So talk to you soon. Have a great one.